What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we have to talk about Peloton stock, which has been dropping a huge amount on their earnings call. Let's take a look at the chart. It does not look very good for them, right? We saw highs yesterday of $120, and right now we're sitting around 104. Now you can see this massive drop on the earnings call. We dropped all the way from, we were around 114, hitting lows of $97 on this horrific earnings news. You can see the earnings estimate was to lose 45 cents per share. And what we actually lost was $1.05 per share. And that's because of slowing user growth and lower revenues overall as their bike sales have declined. They had to do some recalls because I believe one of their bikes actually killed a child. I think there was some report on that I read. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that someone died using one of their bikes. And let me give a little bit of backstory on what Peloton is, just for anyone who's curious. Peloton is a stock, it's a company, rather, that builds these workout bikes that are rather expensive. They used to be around $1,800. After this earnings call, they just announced that their workout bikes will be around $1,400. They also sell treadmills, and these are essentially very fancy workout equipment that you can buy for your house. And then it comes with a subscription service that you also have to pay for, right? You have to buy the bike for a pretty high price, and then you have to pay another, I believe it's $40 a month for this subscription service that gets you access to classes that you can take. And that just seems a little bit silly to me, right? I don't quite get why you want to buy the gym equipment and then pay essentially another gym membership fee just to own it and I guess you can use it without the class, but I don't know. It just seems a little silly to me why you'd want to do that. Anyways, this stock has been doing rather well over the pandemic. I guess there is a market for it, right? You can see that we were at lows of $17 and we pumped up all the way to $171, tenfold increase in stock price over the course of the pandemic. So, obviously some people, or sorry, I had the face came on. You can see that we were at lows of 17 and pumped up to 171, so tenfold increase. So obviously some people were interested in this stock. Now, what hit people during this earnings call was the lack of user growth and the small revenue numbers and the overall loss on the earnings, right? They were much less profitable than a lot of people expected. And if you actually look back at their past earnings calls, you can see they were doing fairly well until this earnings call, which actually wasn't as bad as they were expecting. But you can see that there is a pattern with Peloton, right? They did pump up a ton, hit highs of 171, and since have been trading in this range of $100 to $126 just about. And, they tried breaking down past this support level of $100, and they eventually did, right? But they've tried many times. And this is kind of giving us some insight into what could happen in the future, right? So they were able to break past it on some fairly bad earnings expectations. However, the earnings call came out and actually saved this stock from falling further. It pumped us back up into this range, which we've been trading in ever since the entire quarter, basically. And now this earnings call just came out. So if I had to guess, if there was ever a time that we were going to be breaking and staying below this $100 resistance level or support level, this could be it, right? I would not be surprised to see Peloton break below this support level today or in the coming days, just because this earnings call was pretty bad news for the stock. A lot of investors are getting spooked because they had a very big loss. And these are investors who were probably buying the stock, right, when they thought this company was profitable. And one of the reasons why this company isn't as profitable as it has been in the past is because as the coronavirus pandemic comes to an end, a lot of people are able to go out again and interact in the real world and go out to actual gyms, and they don't have to buy an expensive bike and then pay a gym membership fee on top of that to get access to the classes. They can just go to an actual gym that has these classes. Maybe it's a little bit more per month, but buying what used to be an $1,800 bike and is now a $1,400 bike, I don't know if a lot of people are going to be able to justify that when they have access to the real world, and it's probably just a short drive to get to the gym for them. And, if they're paying the monthly fee anyways, just for having access to the classes on the bike, then I'm not sure if they'll be able to justify paying the upfront cost of the bike itself. So that's also probably why Peloton was lowering the cost of the bike, why they had to do that. I believe they lowered it. It's 18 something. I don't know if it's in this article, but they lowered it from $1,800 something dollars to $1,400 something. So Peloton is obviously in a tight spot. Now, there is a bull case for this stock, and there's a bear case, right? The bear case is that sales continue to decline, that people end up going back out more and not buying their products, and this company becomes less and less profitable. And this was just a hype stock and, a COVID stock, essentially, that did well during the pandemic, but afterwards there wasn't too much of a need for it. Now, that's the bear case. The bull case for this stock, I could see potentially happening. Maybe the Delta variant is worse than people are thinking. Maybe we have to have more lockdowns, more restrictions. Maybe people are just worried about going out to the gym. They don't want to interact with people in the real world. They'd rather stay at home, buy the bike, stay safe, and not take the risk of going out and getting sick. And if that's the case, then I think this stock could continue doing very well in the future. However, over the long term, over the real long term, right? I don't think COVID is going to be around that much longer. I mean, as a serious illness that we're really worried about. I don't think that people are going to continue staying indoors forever, right? If we actually look out onto the right side of this chart, this side of the chart is completely unfilled, and my guess is that Peloton will be not doing that great in the year 2022, 2023. I just don't see them doing incredibly well because the business model doesn't make a ton of sense to me personally, right? The idea that you buy this bike and then pay a subscription fee for it sounds really great if people are willing to do that, but I just don't know how many people are actually going to be willing to buy these bikes when there's not a pandemic going on and then pay for the privilege of using them with these classes, right? If the classes were free and you just bought the bike and it was a one-time thing, that would make a lot more sense, right? I think a lot more people would be interested in these things, and potentially this company would be doing a lot better in the far future. So over the short term, I'm not going to say this stock isn't going to do well because it's very possible that the pandemic ends up coming back and turning a lot of people into homebodies again, right? They're going to want to stay at home, use these bikes, and use these programs. However, over the long term, I just don't know if it makes sense to be a long-term investor in this stock. At least for me personally, it doesn't make much sense to me why people would be continuing to use this even after the pandemic is done. So is the potential for short-term gains on this stock, right? This is a short-term bad earnings call that happened over a quarter when people were going back out into the real world and not using these bikes as much, not buying their products and using their services as much. However, over the next quarter and the quarter after that, if the Delta variant gets much worse and there are more lockdowns, I could see this stock continuing to rise up and actually doing fairly well. This could be a good buying point, right? Especially if we don't break below the $100 support level. I could see that happening. But over the long term, I'm not so sure about this stock, right? If I'm talking about holding this stock 1 to 2 years plus, I'm not so sure about that. I think this is more of a short-term trade for me if I'm interested in it. If we end up holding the $100 range, I might be interested in it. Now, that's all I have for you guys today. If you've enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.